Welcome everybody to River City Live. We want to start our show today giving a shout out to some new friends that Mark and I made yesterday at our visit to Jacksonville Heights Elementary School. Some cool kiddos there, and we had a really good time just chatting away and talked about reading, and we talked about radio and TV, and they had amazing questions.
Amazing questions. Salaries?
Yeah.
They kept asking. So what do you guys think? That was one. And then the other thing was really cute, too. We said, we're going to put you on TV, and one's like, I didn't pay for this. Well, no, but we're having fun, right?
But Mark said, I like the way you think.
Yes,
yeah. I like the way you think. So
he's my new agent.
The word of the day is?
It is Paraskevidivitrophobic. Something for Friday 13th. Phobia.
Can you use it in a sentence?
It is the fear of Friday the 13th, which is, of course, today. It is the only Friday the 13th of the entire year, so if you just get through this one, you're good to go.
It's not so bad. I was born on Friday the 13th, and I mean, look at me.
Yes. Look how lucky we are to have you here. I think it's just that people pay more attention to everything that goes on in the course of their day, and then they decide, oh, this is an unlucky day. Like right now, Abigail, I know she just had a little thing happen, and I know she's thinking it's Friday the 13th. She's blaming it on the day.
She's going to chalk it up to that, and
right.
not her skill.
That's just the way people. That's just the way people think.
So we can make any mistakes today, and we can just blame them all on Friday the 13th.
Well, not even that. I'm just saying, unfortunate things happen every single day. But Murphy's Law says they're all going to happen today.
On Friday the 13th.
But you know, there are some stats about Friday the 13th that I thought were fascinating. That is that travel, the cost can be less because a lot of people won't travel on Friday the 13th, and then there is a lot of business that is lost. People won't do business.
I heard too there's less accidents because people are more cautious on how they drive, knowing that it's Friday the 13th.
So Can we get a sign on 95 right? for that, just all the time? Every day is not Friday the 13th?
So people always drive cautious. Oh. Make me crazy on 95.
Oh, yeah.
Have you guys ever played the game Would You Rather? Right? It's kind of vague, and you could use any topic. Well, AT&T, they put out a survey, and they were asking people, what would you give up for internet? So for example, like people were saying, okay, if I couldn't have internet the rest of my life, like what would you give up? People were talking about like limbs or eyesight or something like that. So what about you guys? Like what would you rather give up, you know, in exchange for internet?
So is the question like we're taking away your internet, and if you want it back, you have to give up something? And
right.
Okay,
so like what's the price?
Is that the list we're looking at? What people actually said?
That is the list.
People are giving up.
So 40% of people would give up sight in one eye.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
How did you see the internet?
That is crazy. They are giving up love?
Yeah, 20% of people would give up love.
Well, when you can swipe left or right,
you're good. A finger.
And is this permanently, or is this, hey, you got to give it up for a couple days?
This is for life.
For life.
Now, I was thinking about this because at first I was like, I'm not giving up like any part of my body. And then I'm like, you know what? Maybe like a little toe or something. Like no one really noticed it, and I think I could still walk okay.
Wait, can I borrow somebody else's internet?
You know?
Right. Exactly. It would make work a whole lot easier because you'd be like, aha, I got all my fingers, but no internet, so I'm not gonna research this topic.
Now, the one at the bottom, it says human interaction, but it's like, well, how am I going to be on the internet? Because most of us...
Who are you talking to on the internet?
Wow. Wow. You really have to commit to that.
But it's just sad because you figure like 15 years ago there was no internet, we were fine, but now we're just so addicted to it that that's what we're doing. So, you know, speaking of internet, we're always on those devices, right? We're always on our phones or anything like that. Have you ever had those phantom rings where like you feel a little jingle or a buzz, you look and no one called you?
Yes.
Well, there is a scientific reasoning for that. We actually condition ourselves to actually put out those little receptors thinking it's happening, so our body is tricking herself. This is kind of weird. I have, like in my car, when I have my Bluetooth on, before somebody calls me, before I see the phone light up or the dashboard light up, because it usually goes phone, then dashboard, and then I realize what's happening, I feel like I do hear like a little buzz or feel it. It's like my spidey sense.
Is it the force?
I don't know what it is. It's probably some kind of radio waves that are harmful to me, but I swear, like I feel like a little twitch. I look down, then my phone lights up, then I look at like my little monitor there, and then that lights up.
Is it a different feeling depending on who calls? Like an icy chill, warm heart?
Now, does that cause you to ignore real phone calls and stuff? Because you're like, oh, that's just a phantom ring. That's not real.
Right. No, I react to them all the time. But do you guys get that? 80% of people do. They have a phantom
I know
ring.
what you're talking about. Even if my phone's next to a stereo or some type of thing playing music, then I feel like it does a little buzz. So yeah,
Whatever
I'm
that
with ya.
pulse is, I'm pretty sure it's not good for us to feeling it penetrate our bodies, right?
Probably not.
Probably
Probably
not.
not. But, you know, the guilty pleasures are out there, using your phone, using the internet. You know, we have to stay in touch. We have to follow. We need it for gossip. We need it to follow what's going on, you know, TV and so forth, too.
And speaking of gossip, I have got the latest local Bachelorette gossip.
Interesting.
A lot of people won't admit it, but I am a huge diehard fan. So we have a local contestant. It's currently in production. You're looking at him right now, Robbie Hayes. He is the son of a local real estate agent, Holly Hayes. Now, we're hearing that he is already starting to cause drama because apparently he, get this, broke up with his girlfriend right before filming the show. If you're a Bachelor or Bachelorette fan, you know, whoo, that is a no-no. That is going to definitely stir up some
But
emotions.
he's so pretty. I
He's-
mean,
he is
He's a good
pretty.
guy. So how does that conversation look? Like, hey, baby, I'm about ready to meet a ton of single women on national TV.
Well, for
So I
him, he's
wanna
just
take a little
meeting one
sidebar.
because it's the Bachelorette. It's JoJo.
Okay, okay.
So, and I actually heard too that he is from St. Augustine area, that they were not too long ago filming there, and so it was maybe hometown date, so he could be in the final four.
Interesting.
Word on the street.
Represent,
That's the word on
Robbie.
the street?
Oh yes.
That's the gossip?
That's the gossip.
Stand up,
hottest
Robbie.
blog spot, Elizabeth Campbell.
Well, on The Bachelorette or The Bachelor, it's kind of neat to see like the evolution of how these relationships work. But once it's a real relationship and you're married, did you know there are ways to change your spouse? Did you know that?
I thought you were supposed to just
Love them
know
for
that
who
you
they are?
can't. Yes.
No, you're not. You can actually change them. And this is logic applied to this.
Okay.
So, one is start softly. You could flatter him or her on how hard he or she is working. So like a positive reinforcement, you know, to kind of get the mood going, right? And then you could express your feelings, not your thoughts, but your feelings. Like, I feel as if this dinner is lacking in taste, right? Like something like that, right? I feel this place is a little messy, you know?
I feel insulted when you say the dinner is lacking in taste.
This is good. We're talking.
we're getting it out
airing
there.
this out.
And everything's okay because you're just expressing your feelings.
Right.
And then you tell
I
your
feel
friend.
you're constantly
"He's
nagging
sad."
on me for giving you constructive
No,
criticism.
that's not how you do it, though. They're saying you have to say, I feel sad when you constantly nag.
I feel that you're nagging and it's making me sad because of me trying to critique your
I
cooking.
feel that you're using this as a way to tell me something.
What if people had been labeled you as a robot and unfeeling? I mean, how are you supposed to relate then? It's like, does not compute. I mean, I'm still working through some things, honestly. I feel this, but you know, I'm still. But there is something I have a very passionate feeling about: participation trophies. Now, last year, James Harrison, he played a linebacker for the Steelers, took away all his kids' participation ribbons and trophies. He's like, no, you earn it. D'Angelo Williams, he's running back for the Steelers now. He just did the same thing to his daughter, took away her participation ribbons. You can see it right there. And after that, she got first place in her next two races. Motivation?
Wow.
Is it motivation or is it the fact that her dad's a great athlete and she's gifted with some amazing genetics?
Well, I mean, there are definitely two sides of that coin. You know, you guys you were an athlete, and you guys are dads of athletes. So, what do you think?
I'm not for participation. I mean, it depends. If they're really, really young and it's like something they're just participating in for fun.
Right.
But, you know, once you kind of get into the competitive aspect of things, like, it's great that you participated, but...
And that's nice too. There's a lot of like sports teams out there now for little kids. Some of them are more just about participation, having a good time, learning the game. Some kids are competitive, some are not. So the competitive kids, reward them for excelling. For kids that just want to go out there and have a good time, support them. You know, so I think it depends on the kid. You know, like in my house, we have both. Growing up with all my siblings, we had kids that were competitive and it was not, you know, so.
And if you had a kid who worked so hard for something, even if they didn't win, let them have that participation ribbon or trophy or whatever it is.
Now, we had a good debate about this earlier,
did.
Eden, because
We did.
you're a runner.
So here's my feeling on it, and neither of my kids are in the competitive stages of any of the sports they do, but for me as a runner, I feel a sense of completion if I do a 5K, and I like to get a finisher medal, and I have a foundation, and we put on these kinds of races for kids, and we give them finisher medals, even if it's just a mile, for the sense of accomplishment. Now, I know that that's not training them up for life because you're not going to get a medal for everything you do, but I think there is a place for completion.
Yeah, well, I think there's an
something-
accomplishment in finishing the race, even if you,
Right.
you know, however you walk
And
or
in
whatever.
finishing
So
the
I get
season
with that.
in some
Yeah.
cases.
Well,
In some
yeah,
cases,
that's true.
you know, in some cases, you know, the parents need the medal for driving the kid to practice and having that fight. Boy, the girl child, she quit the soccer team. You know, she felt we were going to make her do the whole season, and then we realized that we were punishing ourselves. Really, 'cause we always go, but I understand the whole thing. But I think had she stuck it out, seeing all of her friends getting a little trophy at the end, and she didn't get one because she didn't stick it out.
Yeah.
So there was a lesson that
But, you know,
could be
too,
there.
like, I'm just listening to what you're saying. Maybe it does go down to the household. You know, the individual parent to actually say, hey, for my kid, you got your participation award, but you had an amazing season. I'm going to reward you for good sportsmanship and your effort. And, you know, maybe for the other kid that was kind of lacking, at least at the end, even if he didn't contribute, he still gets something. And as a kid, the big part is just to be coachable, because that helps you out in life to take orders and figure out how to do things. And it's just a bond to make friends, you know. And you also learn, if you work hard, good things will come. And I think those are just good things to instill on kids, and that's the most important thing. Sports at that level.
I get it for marathons, half marathons, stuff like that, which is why I will never participate in those, because I want to win, and I'm never going to win. And then I don't want the participation ribbon showing that I finished dead last 2 days later. So, but I mean, I get what you're saying. So, all right, and you might have swayed me just a little
Well,
bit.
okay, I'll give you one more thing to sway, and then we can, you know. The First Coast Kids Triathlon is next weekend. It's a great event, and we say to the kids every year, what do you call the person that comes in last in a triathlon? A triathlete.
Yes.
Because they did it.
Yes.
And they get the medal to show they did it, and I'm down with that. But I understand where you guys are coming from. We can agree to disagree. Yep. I think that's what has to happen.
Yeah, I
right
don't
now.
think we're disagreeing on that, though. I feel that sometimes, you know.
I feel that you guys don't hear me.
We have so much more to come on River City Live. Stay close and check us out on social media at River City Live TV.